It's 2002 and Blue Sky Studios are about to release their first feature-length animated film, Ice Age. The studios actually exist all the way since back in 1987. They had their own rendering software which they used to create visuals and other cool things in advertisements. The studio did this all the way until they started production on Ice Age. Some people might not immediately recognise the name Blue Sky compared to other studios like DreamWorks, though you might just know them as they're the guys that made Ice Age, Robots, Rio, Horton Hears a Who, the Peanuts film and Spies in Disguise. Rather starting with the main characters of the story, Ice Age instead starts with its reoccurring joke character, Scrat. Scrat, the saber-toothed squirrel, has one goal in his life, his nut. He first starts off the film for us by trying to find a nice place to store his precious acorn before the Ice Age, presumably so he can hibernate and have his food when he wakes up. Unfortunately, he's unsuccessful, but soon finds a place to plough it into the ground. This turns out to be not as big brain of him, as it creates a chain reaction of ice cracking and wacky hijinks ensue. Seriously though, this man is actually invincible and genuinely cannot die, just as long as God can blue ball him for being a piece of his acorn. After Scrat moves tectonic plates, we see many creatures migrating away to avoid the freezing weather of the Ice Age to get to warmer climates. However, walking the complete opposite way through all of the migrating animals is this absolute Chad, Manfred the Mammoth. Manny, voiced by Ray Romano, is our main protagonist and walks the opposite way due to his species, the mammoth. They are well adapted to freezing weather due to the amount of fur they have, among other features. Whilst walking past the remaining traffic, Sid the Sloth awakes, but only to find out the rest of his family and tribe have left him behind because, well, he shid the sloth.
They left without me. They do this every year. Why? Doesn't anyone love me? Isn't there anyone who cares about Sid the Sloth?
After monologuing to himself, Sid steps in a fat pile of shit and tries to wipe it on some leaves.
Oh, yuck! This has definitely not been my day.
Two rhinos were previously going to eat this delicious dish, and after Sid wipes his feet on them, and insults them at the same time, they grow angry and try to kill him. Sid flees from the enraged couple and bumps into Manny himself.
Hey! Just pretend that I'm not here.
Manny doesn't care about Sid's beta problems. However, he calls out the rhinos, but they continue trash talking, so Manny challenges them.
Okay, look. If either of you make it across that sinkhole in front of you, you get the sloth.
Sid sadly ruins this plan, and the rhinos charge at them both.
You were bluffing, huh?
Yeah, that was a bluff.
Manny, being an absolute unit, defeats them. Now, I do have to say, this scene very much parallels the way that Shrek and Donkey meet in Shrek 1. Here, look. Ow. The defenseless comic relief character is running from some form of bad guy and bumps into the ass of the grumpy main character. The main character scares off the bad guys, and the comic relief says they should stick around as a team, but is asked why are they following them. Meanwhile, we cut back to see how Scrat is doing. He's climbing a tree now to see if he can hide his acorn in there instead. He chose to do this during a thunderstorm, which results in him getting struck by lightning. We are now introduced to our third main character, Diego the saber-toothed tiger, as well as the rest of his tribe. We meet them while they are secretly watching over a tribe of humans as they are planning to attack them as a form of revenge, as the humans have killed off some of their tribe off-screen. Diego is given the task of kidnapping the human baby, so whilst the intense battle commences, he sneaks off to the side tent to find the child. The mother is in there with them both, and bonks Diego over the head, and runs off with her child. He takes off after them until she is cornered by him on the edge of a cliff at a waterfall, and to Diego's shock, she jumps off the cliff.
Where's the baby?
Let's go!
Back to Manny and Sid now. We see them walking by a river where they find the mother with her baby hanging onto a log as she seems very hurt or like she's dying. She sees Manny and hands him her baby. Manny saves the child but for some reason doesn't help the mother get out of the river as well, which kinda confuses me why he doesn't do it. But when they look back at the river again, the mother just isn't there, which gives us the impression that she's drowned, as we never see her again in any of the film.
She's gone.
Sid tells Manny there is smoke on top of the hill, which must be where the child's family are.
Let's get something straight here, okay? There is no we. There never was a we. In fact, without me, there wouldn't even be a you.
Sid says he will just take care of the baby on his own. Manny finds this amusing and decides to watch Sid try to take care of the human baby, which results in them both sticking together after all. While watching Sid nearly kill the child, Diego jumps past and grabs the child.
That pink thing is mine.
Sid tells Diego he's not having him but is told in return that the humans have left early this morning. Manny tells him to take a hike and he tells Sid he will help Sid return the baby because he doesn't trust Diego with him.
Oh, that's perfect.
They search around the camp to see if they can find anything. Sid becomes Sideshow Bob and the baby looks at his bed he slept in before Diego arrived. Diego returns and tells Manny the humans went north as he can track them down easier. He also tells him that the oncoming blizzard will prevent them from getting to the humans, so they should just give Diego the baby instead. Manny again refuses and hands Sid the baby and they begin their quest.
Oh, the big bad Tiggy Waggy gets left behind. Poor Tiggy Waggy.
Sid? Tiggy Wiggy's gonna lead the way.
Manny, can I talk to you for a second?
No.
Okay, so the next few scenes in the film are kind of just the guys travelling and getting more and more annoyed slowly with Sid and the baby. The first thing that happens is that they try to change the baby's diaper, or nappy if you're from around these parts, but before that Manny absolutely rolls Sid.
Check for poop.
Hey, why am I the poop checker?
Because returning the runt was your idea. Because you're small and insignificant, and because I'll pummel you if you don't.
Why else?
Now, Sid!
After cleaning the baby, Sid jokes around with the waste and throws it onto Manny's face, but it turns out to be clean. We then learn that the baby laughs when Sid is in pain, so they just keep beating him, as it also makes Manny and Diego laugh. Diego quickly turns into a Five Nights at Freddy's character and they continue onwards. Again, I'm gonna comment on something odd in this film. So Sid takes off the nappy, the only nappy that the baby had actually. It was perfectly clean, mind you, and he just chucks it away, like they don't pick it back up. So for the rest of the entire film, this baby does not poop once, or pee, or throw up, or any stupid baby stuff at all. And that's believable, apparently. I mean, I guess we were expected to believe that a mammoth sloth and a saber-toothed tiger would rescue a baby, but... Shh. Later, the guys come across and find some food such as a melon. However, a dodo appears and snatches it. Basically, the dodos are all preparing for the Ice Age and gathering melons, so one of them sees the guys, runs off to tell the rest of the dodos, but falls into a convenient pit of lava and burns alive.
Intruders! Burn and die.
They chuck a melon off the cliff so Manny can't have it, and a lot of them just jump after it. Another melon falls into lava hole, along with 3 more dodos after it that perish in lava. The final melon is in Sid's hands. He throws it to Manny, and he holds it in the air so the dodos can't capture it. This quickly turns into a football match as Manny throws it back to Sid, and Sid eventually charges through all the dodos to get back to Manny. Sid actually does something good for once and wins the game, resulting in the possible reason that dodos went extinct. Unfortunately, through doing his victory dance, Sid just destroys the melon for no reason, which... why?
Ah, Sid! How about a good night kiss for your big buddy Sid?
Shh. He's asleep.
I was talking to you.
We get to night time. Sid, Manny, and the baby whose name's actually Roshan, which I didn't even know until now, until researching for the script. And they get some rest and go to sleep. Diego pretends to be resting and attempts to steal Roshan while the others are sleeping, but fails. He hears something coming, and it turns out to be 2 members of his tribe. He tells them to pass a message on to his leader that he's bringing the baby, but also a mammoth. The morning after, Roshan is missing, and Manny questions Diego, but they both realise that Sid is missing too.
Sid!
It turns out, He's in some sort of hot tub with what I would describe as the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. What is that? Sid is telling these two that he found the baby himself and tries to make himself seem epic or something, I don't know. Manny finds them and takes Roshan back, and Sid as well, I guess.
Not much to look at, but it's so hard to find a family guy.
It seems today that all you see is violence in movies and sex on TV. But where are those good old-fashioned values on which we used to rely? Lucky, there's a family guy, and he's coming up next.
One final montage of the guys travelling. I like this joke where they have to wait to cross a road. Another nitpicky thing incoming. Diego sees one singular tiger footprint in the snow just in the middle of nowhere. Which on its own is an anomaly, because where the rest of the footprints and why is there only one? But Diego changes the footprints like a human's, but this also wouldn't make any sense, so why would there be just one human footprint in the middle of nowhere? And why would the humans have no shoes on in the snow, or some kind of protection on their feet? They clearly had shoes on earlier in the scene where they chased the tigers. I didn't even bring up that the tiger paw print was because Diego told his tribe to meet them on the mountain. Afterwards, Manny thinks Diego has gotten them lost, so they decide to ask the guy in front of him. And this next scene is genuinely some MCU shit of how brilliant and masterful it is.
Hey, buddy, you see any humans go by here?
I genuinely love how Scrat just possibly just walked onto the set on accident and it's just made part of the scene as Manny decides to talk to him as if it was just in the script. It's just great. Though I'm not a fan of how Scrat was just punished for helping. Like, come on Diego, you're better than that, man. Diego runs back up to Manny and tells him he's found a shortcut to go through an icy cave. He claims they have to go through the cave to beat the human to the top of the peak. Sid once again pisses off Diego and causes him to yell at him. This causes an avalanche, so they have no choice but to retreat into this cave. Inside the cave is mainly just for humour and visual gags, such as Sid seeing things in the ice, including a dinosaur, which I find quite interesting because it was either them having something planned or just a joke that they brought back, as the third film, Ice Age Dawn of the Dinosaurs, has the characters find underneath the ice that dinosaurs just lived under there casually the whole time. Oh yeah, there's this completely an out of nowhere Star Trek reference, which is here too. Cool. Why does the baby know the Vulcan shine? This next scene is quite a memorable one, for me at least anyway. Manny let go of Roshan at some point, why? And they all just see him go down this icy slide, and then they all realise and panic and then just jump down after him. Sid almost catches up with Roshan but falls through a hole in the middle of the slide. Diego is just falling in complete and utter terror as well for a different slide, and then both of them arrive and land on top of Manny's back. And then all three of the guys land on a piece of ice which they then slide down. It's good that that happened because a huge field of spiky icicles was in front of them. But then this begs the question, how did the baby slide through all these spikes? Scrat is outside trying to once more put his acorn somewhere before quickly trying to remove it when he sees all three of the others coming towards him at high speed. This next scene drastically changes in moods as they enter a non-icy cave with cave paintings all over the walls. Sid points out that the mammoths on the wall look like Manny and the family, which causes him to stop and come see what he means.
See, Manny, that's your problem. That's what mammoths are supposed to do.
Sid.
Find a she-myth, have little baby mammoths,
Sid.
and what?
Shut up.
But
This scene's actually pretty sad, I'm going to be honest, as we learn that Manny's family is possibly dead, which explains why he was alone the whole time. This also gives him a stronger connection with Roshan and makes him want to get back to his family more. After leaving the cave, Manny does some more social commentary,
Do we have to get a news flash every time your body does something?
Doing it for attention, just ignore
but
it.
the guys soon realise that there is lava beneath their very feet. A bit of character development here as Manny shows care for Diego and saves him from falling into the lava. Manny then falls on a piece of ice like Wile E. Coyote, but is luckily launched back up by the lava onto the ground. So I guess they're in some sort of Mario level, I don't know. We reach the second night and Sid is drawing himself on the wall like the previous cave paintings he saw. but he unintentionally discovers how to create a campfire while doing this, much to the other's shock. The next scene shows the characters' friendship grow between each other as Diego finally accepts Sid as a friend, and Roshan walks his first ever steps. Diego also shows that he no longer cares about taking Roshan to his tribe of tigers. The next morning, Diego starts trying to talk Manny and Sid out of going to the top of the mountain. He's grown attached to them and the baby, and he doesn't want them to be killed anymore. Diego spots one of his tribe members and he tells the guys to get down the nearby cave. He reveals to them he was waiting for them to be ambushed by his tribe. Manny, obviously enraged by this, pins Diego against up a wall, but he's reminded he's their only chance of surviving his tribe and getting to the humans, so Manny lets him go as Diego says he has a plan. Diego approaches his leader and says he's brought the baby, and Sid brings a decoy baby wrapped up. Sid had some sort of skis made of bark attached to his feet so he could escape the tigers. Of course, he eventually screws this up and drops the decoy baby. The tigers get to the baby, but then they realise they've been tricked. The tigers run around the corner where Manny was waiting, and he bashes their skulls in with a huge log and might have killed them. Uh-oh. Diego's leader appears and fights Diego, and turns out the other tigers didn't die and somehow attack Manny. But as you may remember from the start of the film, Manny is an absolute unit and cannot be stopped, so he throws all the other tigers away. Diego's head is unfortunately smacked onto a boulder. Don't worry, he is not dead. We still have another 4 films to market him from. The leader jumps up to attack Manny, but Diego immediately gets up and takes the bullet for him. Distracted by the sight of Sid with Roshan, Manny smacks the leader into a wall and a lot of sharp icicles fall and literally kill him. Manny and Sid walk up the hill and finally find the tribe of humans they've been looking for. Like most people, the father is ready to attack when this giant mammoth is clearly walking towards him. He pulls out a spear at Manny, but Manny removes the spear and chucks it away. He then reveals the man's child, and hands him back to him. The other men come running up to Manny with spears, but are told to stop, as Manny is friendly and has returned his child. Roshan says goodbye to Manny and Sid, and as a token of his thanks, the father gives Manny a little trinket that was dropped by his wife when she ran away from the camp. This is then gone in the next scene, but it's okay as we trade in that to have Diego come back instead. He comes back up the hill just in time to wave goodbye to Roshan as well. Sid and Manny then notice this and welcome Diego back. Manny allows him and Sid to both travel with him as he accepts them as his friends at the end, and they walk off into the sunset and the film ends. No, it doesn't though, because however, there is one bonus scene with Scrat, thank goodness! But it also makes me question the Ice Age canon of all things, as the scene starts with Scrat arriving on a tropical island 20,000 years later, frozen in a cube of ice with his acorn just out of grasp of his little mitts. When this was the only Ice Age film, this ending was completely fine to be honest, but what about the rest of the films that released? Ice Age 2 came out 4 years later in 2006, and Scrat was just there like nothing happened. Unless that nothing after the first film wasn't canon at all. What if it was all just a dream? When rewatching Ice Age, I didn't expect nothing spectacular, as when you watch something as a kid, it's always going to be a different experience when you watch it again years later as an adult. Now, I didn't see this film when it first came out, as I was still just a disgusting mere fetus when this film released, though I have fond memories of Ice Age 2 when that released. I will say I did actually enjoy watching the film though, and it did make me laugh a few times, and I do like the characters. I think it's time to address the elephant in the room. You're not funny, shut up. I've heard a bit of criticism this film gets is for the humans and how they appear. I will agree that the almost Stewie Griffin-like head shapes they do have is a bit strange, it looks a bit weird to look at. But you've got to remember, this was 2002 when this released, and it was likely in development from the start of 2000 or 2001. So these kind of humans in CGI animated films were probably normal-ish around that time. I didn't really exist then, but we've seen much worse CGI from around this time. Heck, Even years later, in the mid-2000s or late 2000s, there's worse human CGI. I will try to defend this art choice once more, as I feel that the humans that they made are supposed to be Neanderthal humans, which have weird shaped heads, so they've tried to model them after Neanderthal humans. I don't know, it might be the case. I don't even know if that was the time period they were in, I'm not really a historian. All things said, I did enjoy Ice Age, and personally, I think it holds up on its own today. Emphasis on its own. The sequels to this franchise that appeared throughout the 2000s and early 2010s, even recently, we're getting a spin-off film about Buck, which I've not looked at because I'm not bothered, but I've seen quite a few negative things about. Ice Age 2 I won't talk about now because, well, if I'm still doing these videos in 2026, we'll do one then. But I think Ice Age 2 was pretty good, to be honest. I like that one as well. But it's just after that, the film started to get a little bit about, what can we do with these prehistoric characters next? Because they can't just come to modern day, because that does not make sense. We've got Madagascar for that. The first film is good, and I would still recommend it to this day. Even if you don't like the bits with Scrat, those are only really, like, commercial breaks from the film. It just cuts off the action. Funny squirrel scene, right, we're back in the action. And especially like this Scrat clip, actually. Take a look at this.
No! No! Bad squirrel! Those are my nuts! My nuts! You're just a hungry little fella, aren't you? But those are my nuts! Ah, no! Oh, God, no! My nuts! My nuts!
Yeah, that was kind of my review and look back at 2002's Ice Age. I like it still. What do you all think? Do you think it holds up still? Maybe its animation doesn't quite hold up, but a lot of it still looks good. I think the animals look perfectly fine still to this day. Well, the next film Blue Sky releases in 2004 when they release Robots. But for now, the next film I'll look at is either live-action Scooby-Doo or Spider-Man 1 with Tobey Maguire. So either of those are going to be really fun, so I'll see you then when I make those videos. Bye-bye.